Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to your reading. So, let's dive in. Last reading was very much, I'm like, let's dive in. Hold on, let's talk. So I'll shuffle as it's not this deck, it's this one. It's this one. I'll shuffle as I talk. Last reading was very much like, you know, what you got going on in your life kind of energy, which I value that, but also life would be nothing without emotions for me. So I kind of want to like touch on that. A more like, you know, slowed down, like what's really going on inside kind of vibe today. Okay. Is this going to be like a pick a side kind of thing? Okay, so you have King and Seeker. I think this is going to be I will reference one side of a dynamic as King and the other as Seeker. And then we're just going to kind of look at both. We're going to look at things that are going on emotionally, I think. Okay, let me first look at the dynamic between these two. You get to decide who you are. You get to decide which one resonates with you more, or maybe which one resonates with someone, a dynamic you're dealing with. Like someone pops into your head as I'm talking about, you know, one of these. So what's the dynamic between the King and the Seeker? I feel like some of it is kind of unknown, you know? Like, oh, that's literally that card. Where maybe, yeah, maybe the dynamic is just kind of like, is this something we work on? Is this something that we just go our own separate ways with? There's clearly has to be a restart somewhere. There has to be a decision to like move forward with different thinking anyways, whether this is someone that you feel like you're separating from or in separation with and you want to work on things. Like there seems to be a great level of change that both of you recognize is necessary, regardless of if this is going to be like a functioning dynamic together or more functional apart. Let's see what's going on with this King. This King is someone who knows but doesn't say. What? They know. They're like, it's like on the tip of their tongue. They want to say it. They just might not know how to. So already the King person, yeah. That's kind of funny. The King person is someone who like maybe doesn't want to give their side until they know the other person's side or something. It's like where it's almost like the knowing, but maybe the feeling like misusing of information. We also have, okay, enlightened benevolent leadership, benefiting those in your charge is the light attribute. The shadow is excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. Oh, so maybe the kink person feels like if they start opening up about something, they're going to lose something that they value, which seems to be like how people see them or something. And also, I just want to be clear, my job is not to label people today. Although a word is coming up in my head, I will say that. But my job is not to make a judgment today, to label someone, to diagnose anyone today. So you might hear me say some like alarming things about one side or the other. It is my job to just see it with the most unbiased nature I can, to just explain what I see. So if you're like, wow, this girl's describing this, you're probably right, but that's not up to me to decide today. What's up to me to decide today is how I read these cards, and that is my only job today here. So the king might feel like if they start opening up about things, it might kind of dock some points with them about how they're seen, or it might make them feel like, I don't know, like inferior to talk about something, like they're giving up their hand. It might also feel like they won't be seen as someone who can lead in a situation. And I don't think that they want that either. I think this person does have value. I get that this person likes to kind of like know things and teach things and like kind of see people start out on their path or whatever, but they don't always like to open up about their own. This person feels more secure when it's not them needing to make all the changes and stuff, and like just feels a lot more secure in like knowing what's going on versus not knowing where things will end up, and like opening up about things to find out, you know, participating. They might have a lot of knowledge. Like you might be like, this person's really smart, but maybe let me retract that. I'm seeing this person to be, I'm seeing the king energy to be very smart. But it's, from my perspective, it's an intelligence that is almost like, there can be high intelligence in one area and a lack of intelligence in another. For this person, I think it feels like there might be kind of this lack of emotional intelligence, meaning, you know, emotional vulnerability is not seen as a good thing, and it's seen as something that can hurt you more than it can help you. It lets people weaponize you, and you shouldn't do that if you want to pursue these other goals in life. This could also be someone who might be coming off as like autistic or something, or having Asperger's, or having some kind of a neurologically diverse mind that I can't really speak on more, you know, unless I knew this person. It just seems like maybe the king energy really values logic and finite things. And maybe isn't always aware of like how to seek their own happiness or the ability to. Like, it's not always been prioritized. It's not something that the king energy feels needs to be prioritized, but I think they would actually feel good when they do it, but not like, oh, this is on my to-do list today to like feel good and to feel happy, you know? Okay, let's get into the seeker a little bit. So the seeker energy, I'm already seeing pulls back the minute that they see the king energy, or maybe anyone who, you know, is similar in that king energy, who does not value happiness or the ability to seek it as a priority. I think that for the seeker, I'm immediately seeing within the dynamic is that there's a very intentional pullback there. So we have thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are is the light attribute, and the shadow attribute is inability to commit to a path once found. The seeker actually feels like they understand things in a way where they actually have success leading people. Wait, let me think about that for a minute. Let me put a pin in that, because maybe that's not true. I'm just seeing, like, here we have Prince of Swords, here we have King of Swords. This person oh, that's what it is. The king talks about what others are doing. The seeker talks about why they do it. The seeker looks like can look beyond a surface interaction with someone and go, oh, this is what's happening right now. Can almost pinpoint things from their past without like knowing the whole story, or can like really what's this word? Infer what may have happened before. Also, something I'm noticing about the seeker, they don't pick and choose when to open up. They just like go for it. Like, it's just like opening up has always been, or maybe not necessarily opening up, but like speaking about what they see and how they see it has always been a truth for the seeker. I think the king is in some kind of a energy or environment where they actually might find that they do better reaching their personal ambitions, which may or may not be that they want something for themselves. You know, maybe it's that they want to be a benevolent leader. Maybe it's that they want to feel entitled. I'm not sure, but like whatever they personally value, there's some kind of an environment where they find that they can get to this spot if they don't look too far into people. If they just keep it kind of surface. If they just describe actions and what's happening and take it kind of at face value. And the seeker just doesn't think about that. Like, the seeker just goes, is it happening now or is it not? Yeah, the seeker is just kind of like, I don't think the seeker questions a lot of things. I think they try to find some kind of like explanation or understanding for what's happening within and around them. I think the king questions things, and it can often maybe come off as like, to the seeker, as like, hey, why does the world need to revolve around your understanding of it? And for the seeker, maybe it's for the king, they're kind of saying like, they might have a perspective of like, why are you trying to tear down my position? Like, it's a very different view of things, right? Because this king is gonna see other people and everything from like a very logical perspective, but also like that doesn't stop at the seeker. So even though this is a dynamic where clearly, you know, other things would be involved there, I think this it would be good to know that the king is still going to view the seeker in the way that works for them, which is in a very logical way. The seeker is gonna view the king in, you know, trying to see all of the depths and stuff and trying to see everything because that's just who they are. So like, something I want to ask here is, you know, what's going to be maybe the outcome of this dynamic? Let's ask that real quick. Okay, I am going to need... Okay, one of you guys is for sure going to decide that you do not like... one of you guys is going to decide that you don't like how this is going and that you feel almost manipulated by the other person. That's like just a feeling that might already be there. Is there more that comes from this? Okay. I also get that one of you is interpreting like self as finding self and interpreting the other as maybe like giving into like addictions or maybe excessively even drinking here. And like something like that where it's like, oh, I'm just trying to find myself. This is how I do it. And then kind of viewing the other as like, why are you giving into that? Or if you're going to give into that, maybe I'm going to draw my energy back. I don't know why that kind of, I'm seeing that in here, by the way. Like I've got my little cards off to the side here. I'm not just saying that. One person sees a lot of hope for who they become as a person, and the other one kind of like feels like they haven't seen that yet, you know. So what's really going to happen in this situation? We got the Hierophant. Okay, so that can symbolize a lot of traditional things. I'm going to need one more on this instead of just sitting here trying to figure it out. Let me use my resource. King of Swords. Okay. Okay, then. So, this dynamic is not over. I just want to be very clear about that. There is still participation on both sides in it. There is no clear, definitive, like, this is going to end. I also am not saying that it needs to. I just want to be clear about that. I think the king is going to approach this dynamic in a way where it's like, okay, I'm just going to try to deal with this burden of like anxiety and whatever else I may be experiencing because of the state of the dynamic. I am going to try a very traditional approach to that. maybe this person has religious beliefs. Maybe they have some kind of like very like widely accepted, you know, counselor kind of thing that they can go to, but it's very traditional, and that's their path. They might be pursuing education right now. They might be trying to kind of like find their place in the world again, find their purpose, find, you know, like I'm reading conformity as like, how do I put myself into this life as like, you know, a productive human and as someone who understands they're a part of this larger network. And sometimes that can actually, if it's done in a way where they recognize their emotions throughout it, it can be great. It can be extremely productive, and it can be very helpful for the people around them. If they do it in a way where they're kind of just like still not going to value their emotions and kind of how to like cope with that and adjust, then it could actually look like trying to keep up with the rat race, trying to please the typical, you know, societal belief of what people should be doing in the corporate world, or in a way where you have your money together, you have your family together, you have very traditional settings. Again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that's their MO. That's who they are. That's their belief. They're entitled to their belief. The seeker, I think, is going to maybe analyze why the king does this. The way that they stay in this dynamic is actually by caring about like getting to the king's understanding beyond the king's understanding of the king's self. If you're the seeker and you don't realize that's what you're doing, it's going to feel draining. It's going to feel like they're whipping you around. It's going to feel like it's a bad connection or dynamic. It's going to feel like they're taking advantage of your generosity and stuff. If you are aware that that's what you're trying to do and that's very intentional, then there's going to be a lot of patience here. There's going to be a lot of understanding. There's going to be a lot of, I know I don't own you. I don't want to. I care about knowing your movements so that I can see where you're trying to go with it and reassess if this is something that we're all gonna be on board with, like that I'm gonna choose to be in, you know, that kind of like, I'm always trying to incorporate these feelings and stuff within this. It's gonna look like a lot of patience. It's gonna look like a lot of emotional maturity. It's gonna look like a lot of like, yeah, I know I'm choosing this. You're not a burden to me. That kind of energy. Because sometimes we just do things subconsciously and sometimes we do them intentionally, and it can be, I know for me, for one, sometimes I think I'm doing it intentionally. Like I think I'm coming towards someone intentionally, and then I'll have some kind of a reaction, and then I'll really look at that reaction, and then I'll go, oh, I wasn't being intentional at all. Like, how dare I? So I'm just trying to put all the information out there that I could possibly be seeing. Something that I think maybe both of you have in common is that you're both very dedicated to your homes in a very specific to you way, but it translates to dedicated to home. Both of you definitely aspire to be very practical about things. I think you're just different people, you know, to have different values and stuff. Or no, you have the same values, but different ways of getting there. So sometimes it can translate as you don't share the same values, you know? And it really depends on each specific relationship, like what's going on. You both very much care about financially providing for the people that you're responsible, even if that's just self. You both very much like to stay organized and probably can't function without having things be organized. Maybe that's physical, maybe that's more of a mental thing. You both have like a very conscious energy about the people around you. Again, different ways of going about it, but you both have a very conscious and aware, like, you know, awareness of that everyone around you is always kind of like experiencing something different than you or different in the world. I do think how you use that information could be very different though. Both of you are trying to be very nurturing, but you have different ways of nurturing people. I think the king tries to nurture people by helping them reach their goals in a very practical way, in a way where you can see the steps, the progress, the success, that where anyone else can see it. I think the seeker more so where each individual can feel the progress, the success. Both of you guys are coming out as healers. Maybe one more physical than the other. I don't know, but both of you guys seem to value healing, but maybe healing different things. And both of you guys actually really care about what your home looks like and feels like for you. Both of you guys could be also working parents or working professionals. Yeah, those are some of the things I'm seeing in common that you both have. And that you share the value of. So I think that I want to get one more, and I don't know which one to pull from. I'm going to get one more on what else am I leaving out here. Ooh, okay, wait. Nine of Swords in the reverse. Overall, I see this situation going in a better direction. I see it's actively trying to get to a better direction by the common denominator is both people want to surrender their anxiety. That's a shared focus of both of you right now. And I think also a shared focus is that you both get to where you want to go instead of just feeling like you're cycling in the constant analysis of self or the constant, like, how do I change to make the situation work better? I think both of you guys are actually more sharing the perspective of like, I'd rather just get to where I want to go regardless of how this turns out. Like, that's the most important thing right now. Which sometimes can be hurtful. You know, it can feel hurtful, but also it can feel good when you're doing that, when you're prioritizing self. It can also feel hurtful when someone's not prioritizing you if you're in an intimate relationship or if there's a specific dynamic where that is understood as important in this. So just keep that in mind, is like two things can be true at the same time, and that's okay. You know. Just let that be what it is. And both of you guys are currently feeling like you're doing hasty, you're taking hasty action. You're doing things that you normally wouldn't, that you are kind of prompting yourself to take action in maybe ways you normally wouldn't. and that's very uncomfortable for both of you when you both decide to do that in your own ways, and that both of you guys are trying to have different perspectives about this. Ultimately, go where you want, but like go where you're trying to go, but also trying to, you're both like trying to work with each other, but maybe not the situation as it is because it's not working, you know? I think you both are trying to meet each other as individuals, like, first, and then kind of be like, if that changes the dynamic of this situation, then that's okay. So very open-ended reading here on like what's going to happen, but I see just there's kind of some like, you know, back and forth of like, oh, I'm going to be hasty and now I'm going to be practical and now I'm going to be like about how each handles the situation. Because of your own belief systems and how you approach things. So I no longer feel like anything that I'm saying is helpful. So that's where I'm going to end the video. Thank you so much for being here. If you like this, let me know, because I really don't know. If you like this and you want more like this, or you want to see it a little different, or you want to see more outcomes of situations, just let me know in the comments or whatever, however you may. All right, bye guys.